So I actually extended my trip and stay in Japan because I really wanted to attend the Chan-Oka Meet, which is a USDM Honda styled meet, I guess you can say, like Japanese interpretation of USDM. I'm wearing this towel because it's blazing hot today and it makes me want to go home to California. But this is my last day here, or last full day. So this is Masa's Skyline sedan. At one point it was a pretty built car. You can see from the engine bay here. Fully shaved, had an L series engine in it still. And I remember seeing it at Week Fest Japan a couple years ago. And I would always see it online. But not too long ago, it ended up like this. There was a tuner that was street tuning the car, and he kind of lost control of it, and it kind of slammed into a house. And this is how it looks now. So, but instead of switching chassis, he's just gonna rebuild this one.
No, this one.
No, he's just gonna cut the shit off this one? Oh, okay. Yeah, so he's just gonna replace this whole rear section? That's pretty crazy. And then start from scratch, but keep the front half of the car. So he's just gonna cut everything?
No, we had to cut it the rear piece.
Uh-huh.
And
weld.
yeah.
So he's basically, yeah.
The chassis, we make the side of Daigo in the pipe frame.
Oh. So Daigo Saito is going to rebuild the rear half of, or most of this car in a tube chassis. So we can just replace this entire section instead of starting from a brand new chassis. It's been a while now, like 6 months, maybe 8 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, the car has just been sitting in this shop while they slowly collect parts and find the time to take it over to Daigo's shop. Pretty crazy situation. Imagine if you owned this car and you were getting tuned and then the tuner calls you and says that, oh, sorry, your car hit a house. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, EG6 make a pipe.
Oh, it's gonna do tube chassis in the front too?
So they make the panel and like all the American cars.
Oh. But same engine.
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, crazy. But yeah, that's the story of Masa Skyline. This shop, however, is very interesting. It's a completely aluminum metal frame building imported from the US. It's multiple stories. And there's a giant Decotora truck here, which is pretty amazing. The Decotora dump truck. Look at the fancy interior. Holy crap.
Oh, open the door.
Oh, really? No, it's locked.
Fix the car.
Huh? Oh, okay. Sick. So there's another Skyline in here. And then another Skyline in here. Whoa. That's crazy.
So,
He's gonna start.
be careful. This guy is super loud.
Oh, sick. He's gonna start it. He's gonna break. I can't wait. Oh, okay. Let's see what it sounds like. Switches. Wow. Perfect that the last thing I see on this trip is a amazing Decatura truck. Says that while other people have switched over to modern LED lights, he's decided to not do it because he wants to keep this very traditional. So the lights aren't like super bright. Wild. Mugen FK2. The FN2 Type R right here. Desmond wheels, Spooten brakes. A couple of the nice EP3s that I've been seeing lately. Both these cars were at Weekfest also. This Integra right here is one of Yasu's original builds when he first started Exceed. I don't know if you guys remember this one. Back in 2017. Car was sold, now it has a new owner, but the engine bay stays mostly the same, and they switched over to work RZR wheels. Still the K20 that Yasu put in here. Custom engine bay, everything is chromed. I remember picking some of this stuff up. Still a great looking car. Took the seats out too. Put Type R Recaros in there. There's a Grady steering wheel now, it seems. But yeah, still a fantastic car. So Midori Green EK. EK4. It's a little crowded over here, so. Oh, it's a real EM1. Wow, look at this CRX right here. Custom front fender, but Mugen Arrow. Mugen front bumper too. E16A. It's a refinished Mugen valve cover. Group M intake. Is this real? Maybe not. Group M intake. Mishimoto radiator? No. Oh. I guess the car was at one point like this. And now it's fully restored. Oh. What's the story on this one? Oh, upside down vision mirrors. Perhaps the way they were intended to be. And T37Vs. Front staggered. Oh no, there's a D&D wheel in there. Sigh. Oh wow, some photos of how the car used to be before it was restored. Nice. Some stuff about it that's a little too USDM, but otherwise, nice car. DB6. The Volk Fortis wheels. This is a nice CRX too. Some black EF8. Volk T37 SL. Guy's got good taste. Braided seat. Oh, guy's got really good taste. So rare to see CRXs out here now. Masa's S2000. It's a X-Point big brake kit by Exceed. This is daily. Yeah, some pretty good stuff here. It looks like a smaller Honda Meet that you'd see in California. But the backdrop is pretty nice. This compound is pretty sick, as you saw from the Dequatoria truck earlier. Yeah. Dude's balling. This is Masafumi Eto's Integra Type R that debuted at Weekfest Japan this year. One of the first cars that I saw when I arrived here in Japan. Took a full-on restomod job. Engine bay looks like it's completely new. JRZ suspension, Comtech intake and airbox, Comtech header. Look at the engine, looks like it's brand new. Stock radiator, custom cooling hoses. Engine bay was done by Kazu Imai, the legendary. Battery, nothing too crazy, just a lot of US parts. Comtech strut bar too. Everything else is OEM or restored OEM. This car's been repainted, champ white. Has a full-on resto job. Interior looks brand new. The dashboard, steering wheel. Nice touch with the gauges. Look how clean these seats are. This thing's mint. These moldings. Here too, all this stuff. Restored or brand new OEM. Trunk mat. You can see how the reservoirs are mounted for the JRZs onto the OEM Type R rear strut bar. Spectacular car. Underneath is amazing too, as you guys saw from the Weekfest video. The only critique I would have for this car is the wheel choice, because if you're going for a full USDM look and style and build, you would probably run like a M7 or an MF10, and this car would be perfect. It just needs a little bit lower ride height. Has stop tech brakes too, but these iForce wheels are actually a Japanese wheel, and it's not a Japanese wheel that we would run in California or in the US. So it kind of throws the car off a little bit. But other than the wheel choice, this car is basically perfect. If you want a resto modded Integra Type R. But it's just the mixture of the Comtech stuff and the JRZ stuff doesn't flow super well, because JRZ RS Pros are a much more modern suspension company, and the Comtech stuff is a little bit dated and old school, even though this is all new old stock. So that is a little bit of a mix there, where you wouldn't see that in North America necessarily, but I understand the intention, and the execution is amazing. So don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, if we had to nitpick it and pick out things about it that wouldn't make it a true US Japanese themed build, those would be the things. But the main thing is the ride height and the wheel choice. I mean, the ride height is a personal thing, but the wheel choice kind of throws me off a little bit. It needs a more traditional wheel, I think, especially if you're gonna run Comtech stuff and have the car themed the way it is. Yeah. But other than that, perfect. And no knock on the dude that owns this company, Renown, but I would run a different steering wheel as well. If you're going for a theme, you know what I'm saying? Mainly the theme that I'm trying to get people to understand. But those are the little things about interpretation that get lost sometimes in translation, you know? Where the build execution is top notch, just little tiny details, and it's all in the details. And Masa is amazing dude. I love that dude. Super cool guy, family man, builds amazing cars. And this is his latest masterpiece, and I dig it. 98%. So before I fully melt, that was the Chan-Oka Meet. Super cool meet. Location is great. Weather, not so great. But yeah, spectacular event. Very small, very intimate, filled with enthusiasts and filled with guys that appreciate this style, you know? It's not everyone's style. I know a lot of you guys are probably like hoping that I would visit more shops and see more Japanese things, but I mean, this is how much more Japanese does it get when you get guys who are so loyal to the style and execution that they throw an event just dedicated to this style, you know? I think it has a great future, and I'm glad that Honda enthusiasts of this generation are building cars this way, because I mean, you can't help but appreciate their appreciation of this style, you know? I know it's like kind of straying away from true Japanese style and tuning and stuff, but this is what's keeping Hondas alive. The style is what has been what kept Hondas alive for the better part of the last 10-15 years. So these guys are paying homage to it, and I love it. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I extended my stay, and tomorrow I go home. It's another car from the meet the other night. This car's from Upstart. That team that had a bunch of coupes. Why wasn't he inside? Maybe he woke up late.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, this is nice. Yeah. See, this is Tokyo right here.
Oh my god.
This is Tokyo style. It's nice.
Yeah, baby. Oh shit. You want truck cover?
Mmm. Yeah, nice. Repainted.
Yeah.
You can tell on the paint.
Terry's NSX here.
Yeah. It's like Terry's car. Finally getting a good look at this Mini, owned by another Utah. This is Utah from Saitama. He has been following the Chronicles since he was 14 years old. And he wanted to build a Honda, but he never got around to it. And his dad gave him his Mini, and he's been building. How many years has he been building this car now?
What?
How many years has he been working on this car?
4 years.
4 years?
4 or 5 years.
Oh wow, okay. Yeah, so he repainted the whole car, did all the engine-based stuff, and kind of completely redid the car in his own flavor and style. But a lot of the style cues that he takes are a lot from the Honda builds that we've shown on the site over the years. Here, open the hood. I actually saw this car the other night at a meet that we threw at nighttime, but it was way too dark for me to do this, so now I get to do it. Everything on this car is kind of quickly removable. Look at this thing. So well done. The hardware, the MSD wires, motor built, stock motor.
エンジンはなんか作ってる。
ほぼエチコのコンロットとか、あとリンセードのバルブライトとか。
Oh. The polished transmission?
Yeah.
Hand polished transmission.
Oil pan too.
Oil pan too?
Yeah. The oil pan, the polish.
See it on the side. See from here.
Oh yeah. Hand polish oil pan.
Yeah, bolt.
Yeah, ARP bolts everywhere. Super well done. And tiny engine. How often does he drive this car?
どれぐらいの感覚で乗ってんの？
ほぼ毎日。
Every day.
Huh? Wow.
No AC.
No AC.
Yeah.
No heater.
No heater. 10-inch wheels. Advent tire though. Yokohama's. Magical racing mirror. Custom base.
あれは作ったの？
あ、これはミニ用で売られてる感じです。
They sell the mini.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
ちょっと中も。
Oh nice. The aftermarket mirror base. Is it open? Oh. This is Saitama, so he's worried about someone stealing his mini. Very dangerous here.
I don't think so.
Or his hood blowing away in the wind. Got Crafty in here, Battlecraft mascot. Full stack gauges. Yeah. Christian's actually been following him for a while now. Full Saito cage. Paint matched. Single brid seat. Can you put 2 brid seats in here? Maybe. A lap timer. Those tiny pedals. Pedals are so small.
What?
The pedals are so small.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
It's got a Battlecraft shift knob, of course.
Yeah.
Big supporter. Yeah. So cool. Everything's repainted. He didn't repaint it himself, right?
自分で塗った？
いや、ショップでお願いします。
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. Chronicle stuff over there. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to show this car because the other night we couldn't really show it off because it was so dark. That's why I just shot photos of it. But yeah, this is Utah's Mini. Someday maybe we'll throw a B18C in here. Who knows? Yeah, so we got a lot of ideas from looking at the Chronicles and following the site and watching the videos over the years, and just his labor of love right here. It's just a cool car to see. And thank you to Utah for the support. Really quiet, soft-spoken guy. But he just pulled up in his Mini the other night and was just blasting down the parking structure where we were at. And we were like, what the hell's going on with that thing? And then when we looked at it up close, we realized that there's way more than meets the eye with this thing. So after the Chan-Oka Meet, we got invited over to the Built by Legends shop. See, actually, this shop. This is currently where the Built by Legends EG6 is being stored that they're working on. The car has been in the process for the last 3 years. I got to see it initially when I was at Type 1 a couple years ago, the last time we were here in Tokyo. But yeah, they invited us to come by and check out the car. They said that they're big supporters of the Chronicles, so you know, anytime you say that, I gotta come, right? So we're here to look at the EG6 that is still currently in the progress. But I think one of the main things was I was always kind of curious as to the purpose behind the whole build and what direction it was trying to go in aesthetically. And now, after sitting down with them and chatting with them, I have a better idea. It's actually a really cool build, and it's one of those one-off proof of concept type of cars that they're gonna finish. They're gonna wrap up one of these days, and then these cars are gonna be available. They're gonna sell them to the public, and you can order a built by Legends EG6 from them. Yeah, so let's check out the car. So the first and most obvious question everybody has is, why does it look like this? And it's because it's literally a concept car that's still in the progress of being put together. That's why it still says test right here. This is like one of those test car liveries that you see, so everything's kind of masked. And this is done in the Spoon font, of course, because Spoon is heavily involved in this project along with a couple of other people, a couple of known shops throughout Japan. So this car travels everywhere, as has the Skylines that these guys are that they've been building for the last few years. But the masked front end shows that these are not OEM fenders. These are actually aftermarket, produced by them, produced by Spoon, I believe, and they're 10 millimeters wider than stock. And the bumper is also masked because this is a bumper that is also going to be available to the public, and it's going to have an S2000 intake duct here that runs to an oil cooler. And when the car's done, it's going to have a Spoon lip, just because it's a Spoon vehicle. It's built by Legends, Spoon EG6. So it's going to have the signature front lip, and then the carbon hood, of course. But the whole car is going to be painted white, from what they tell me. And because white's such a neutral color, it fits with the Spoon theme. So it's silver right now, but it's going to be white. Another nifty thing is that they make these replacement door handles. If you own an EG, then you're going to know that these door handles break all the time. So they actually went and made aluminum ones, aluminum replacement door handles. Yeah, so this car is going to be white. It's going to have a ghosted on Spoon livery. So imagine it's going to be completely white, but with just a shade different so that you can see the signature Spoon livery on here, but ghosted on, so you can only see it in certain angles. So there would have to be a specific amount of light, or you'd have to look at it from a certain angle for you to see the full Spoon livery, which is really cool. I love the idea. I love the idea of ghosting things, especially when they're paying homage to stuff and you don't want the car to be overly, you know, anytime you see a Spoon livery on things, it's like, if it's not a Spoon car, then it's kind of weird, right? Well, this is going to be a Spoon car with the ghosted livery, so it's going to be pretty amazing. As you can see from the door panel, this is also currently in the progress. All the finished cars is going to have this material on the door panels. This is exclusive to them, designed by an interior shop that used to work for Honda. They used to do OEM. They used to be the interior designers for Honda, and they've come up with this pattern for this car, and this will of course be corrected, and that's why it's all wrapped up right now, because still very much in the concept phase. And a lot of the parts from this car actually came from a donor car from Orange Ball, which is another tuning shop. And so you'll see, right, like this cluster is from Orange Ball. Was that EG Orange EG6 that's in there? You can see the host of Defi gauges in here. The meter controller box has been made into this. This is the steering wheel that is just on here for driving purposes. There's going to be an exclusive Spoon wheel for this car that's different from any other Spoon wheel that you've seen in the past. And the good stuff is right here in the floor, which is carbon reinforced. And not only does this eliminate the need for a cage for chassis rigidity, this apparently has made this car feel like a completely different vehicle. And this is being offered as a part of the package when you order a built by Legends Civic and made by the guy from Opera Performance. So you know it's quality work. It's the entire front floor area has been relined in carbon and reinforced, as has the engine bay, which I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. But yeah, super bare bones right now. Everything is still in the concept phases, so nothing is finished. And this thing has been going on for 3 years now, but they hope to be finished with it soon. I guess there's no timeline for completion. There's a better look at the door panel if you guys are wondering what it looks like without the plastic. See, the tunnel here has been reinforced also in carbon. But fuse boxes there, ECU, nothing here. I wonder what cluster they're gonna run. But this one looks like just on here. They're obviously not going to offer this one just because it's like a set of old Defi gauges. Look at the drawn on red line. The water temp, which is that one, oil pressure. Yeah, they're all marked. This is old orange ball stuff, so it still looks cool, and still very cool to see how they did it back then. The indicator lights and everything. Really cool. Under the Spoon Sports hood is where this thing shines. And that's because this B18C has this exhaust manifold, which was commissioned by Ichi from Spoon, of course. And this is the design that he wanted. He wanted a side draft flow exhaust, and this isn't something that they had planned to put on the car, but Ichi wanted it because he wanted something made like this for the car, just for, I guess, performance and his wild ideas. So the fabricator of this manifold actually used to work for Yoshimura, which is the motorcycle exhaust company. So you can see some quality work here. I actually followed this car over here because it was driven straight from the Chan-Oka Meet, and it's pretty crazy that if you ever pop the hood, this is what it looks like under here. This is probably not going to be in the final production versions of these cars, just because cost and I don't know, it's a little wild for a car that would be sold to a customer. So this is definitely just a proof of concept for this car in particular. Spoon airbox, and here is more of the carbon reinforcement here on the shock towers. And you can also see here that the fenders are FRP. Got a swirl pot here. Engine mount. Also has a radiator that's tucked under the core support. Single fan. And if you're wondering if the exhaust is going to melt sections of this engine, you can see here that there's shielding, even to protect the distributor, because that'll definitely get too hot if you don't protect it. No spoon wires though, interesting. The spoon valve cover, spoon oil cap. But yeah, by the time this thing's all said and done, this engine bay should look significantly different also than without this. They work with Bridgestone closely, so you'll see Bridgestone tires on here. RE71Rs, Spoon brakes. These aren't your normal Spoon brake calipers. Spoon SW388, newer versions, but still classic Spoon look. And then with the Spoon brakes, you get the Spoon package. Eventually, I'm sure it'll have mirrors too, but just imagine an all white EG. I'm sure they'll lower it too. Yeah, but that's a quick look at the built by Legends EG6. Once this car is all said and done, it's gonna look like a completely different car. Trust me, this is just a concept, very 3-year progress concept, but it's still a concept nonetheless, and excited to see the final product. They said that when this car is done, they're actually gonna bring it to the States. Try to probably organize an event like Ours Day, like they did for the Skylines that they built. So excited to see that. just excited to see the progress on this car, just from the ideas and the things that they have planned, that they've told me. Pretty excited. Before, honestly, I was kind of confused, like, who's behind Built by Legends, who's behind this build, why does it look like this, why does it look like this for so long, why does it have a test livery on it, is it gonna have a full livery, what kind of parts are gonna go on it. I had so many questions, but thankful for them to invite me here while I'm in Saitama to check out the car and to look at it in detail. It was actually at the meet we were at earlier today, but I specifically didn't look at it because I wanted to come here so that they can give me a detailed look at it, and it's pretty cool. I'm on board with it. I'm excited to help them out with whatever they need, you know, just because it feels cool to be recognized. And the fact that they sat me down, had a nice chat and meeting with me about how much they appreciated my work and how much they appreciated my level of detail. I'm looking forward to the type of details they're gonna have in this car too, because great minds think alike, right? So, yeah, we'll see where this goes. Not gonna lie, the other day I realized that they had invited Larry over here, Larry Chan, the photographer, and when they told me to come, I was like, what do you need me to come for? You know, like, Larry can cover this thing for you already. So it's nice that after I sat down with them, they explained why I'm here, and it's out of appreciation, and I'm happy about that. Talked to my significant other too. I was like, do they really need me to go over there? Because, you know, everyone's covering this car already. It's going to be covered pretty heavily. And then, you know, people appreciate Honda people and guys that are into Hondas, and maybe they just appreciate a different point of view and a different perspective and my level of detail, I guess. So it's cool. She was just like, my girlfriend Donna, she was like, I mean, nobody covers things like you do, and nobody tells a story like you can, and nobody sees with your eyes, so they want you to tell their story, and they appreciate the way you tell their story, so just go over there. And I was like, all right, all right. Well, that's a wrap on this one, folks. That was 31 days, a month and a day in Japan, and 4 days in Tokyo, but most of it spent in the Osaka area. It's been a wild ride. Hopefully everyone has enjoyed the trip. I know it's a lot to take in and a lot of videos to catch up on, but luckily for you guys, there won't be as many videos when I get home, just because I'm not doing as much, and returning to normalcy and going back to a regular schedule and just working out of the shop. Some peace and quiet, some silence, some TV time, some computer time. It'll be nice to sleepy home. Like, it's loads of fun. Like, I wouldn't change anything about this trip. I think everything played out the way it should. I'm so amazed and happy and surprised with everything that I got to see. All the people that I met, all the old friends that I got to see again after 2 years, and yeah, content, super happy with the trip, and happy to also be going home finally and going back to a regular life and getting some sleep in a bed that's close to mine, or mine, I don't know. I'm just worn out, I'm tired, got burnt too many times, and happy to get out of here before it gets too hot. So yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed the adventures in Japan. See you in LA.